A lot of people have been wondering about the situation about communications between city and county and other law enforcement agencies, and the county's point has been discussed, but not with a person who's in charge of county law enforcement. So we thought we'd sit down with Sheriff John Monnet and talk about this issue and see if we could get some better understanding about just how things stand. So, first question, John, obviously, is what's the status of the county communication system as far as law enforcement?
Well, you know, Greg, way back when I was sheriff, that's been 10 years ago, believe it or not, how time flies when we're having fun, that we were on the 800 system, which was already in place when I became sheriff in 2002. And with the 800 system, which we have the two PSAPs, was with city and I could communicate and go back and forth and be able to listen to their traffic and hear what was going on. If they had something going on, that our guys could hear that and we could back them up. It was kind of a situation where we always back up each other. And that's the way it's always been, and that's the way law enforcement is. You know, county backs up the state backs up the county, the city backs up the county backs up the city. So it's always been a communication is because of a safety factor. That's the most important thing. You know, we look at everything, the most important thing is safety. That is to keep our guys safe, that to make sure that they're going to go home at night and be with their family. So that's the top priority. Well, we know that the 800 system, which now I've been with that 10 years, and it was started before that time, now we find is like everything else. If you buy a computer or anything else, it's become obsolete. There's no way to repair the 800. We know the 800 system is going to come to an end actually probably in 2014 will be the end of the 800. So both the city and ourselves was looking at a new direction to go. And we know that the high band system, the new high band system is going to be in place actually next year, 2013. So my thing is, okay, what communication for my people can we do and how are we going to put this all together? So the strategy was that we were looking at, and we put out for a grant, and we asked for $500,000. Unfortunately, all we got was $141,000. So tried to make a system work completely, and you only get part of what you're asking for, made it kind of difficult. So what we did was we looked at Starcom system. We looked at, because we know everything's going to go to the digital high band in 2013. Well, we look who's on the digital high band. We know that the emergency services are on that, fire department's on that. Every other county around us is going to be on digital high band. So we look in that direction is because in the county, we deal with the fire departments and we work with the fire departments a lot. So we like that communication because, you know, if you go out on an accident out in the county, fire departments are there. Whether it's Edgewood, Mason, whatever it is, they're there to assist us in an accident, make sure that there's not a fire. Also assist us in being able to control traffic. Fire department, and we kind of count on them to be able to do it. Communication is an important thing, and that's what we looked at. So we made a decision because of the amount of money that we had and what we wanted to do, but also the problem we had with the 800 was the coverage. There were certain places in the county, in the southeast corner of the county, up around Beecher City, we had a problem that our 800 radios, because we only got one tower. That tower is sitting right here in Effingham. For the city, it was easy because they had no trouble receiving and seeing. But once we got out in the county with only one tower, it became a difficult thing for us. So we looked at the situation, what's going to be the best thing for my people as coverage, what is the best thing that I can also count for the assistance of other emergency services, fire department, out in the county. So we looked at the digital high band money-wise because of what money we had, and also we wanted to check out coverage. So we started working, and it's been almost a 3-year project that we've been trying to try the different radio systems. We tried the Starcom, we tried the digital high band for the coverage. We found out that Starcom did not reach, kind of like in the same situation that we are with the 800 system. It was not providing us coverage for our officers who are in certain parts of the county. So we kind of looked at that. We went with the digital high band because we know we can talk to so many more people. The only ones that we know that's on Starcom right now, of course, the city decided to go with the Starcom. Vandalia City is Starcom and State Police. That's the only three local agencies that are on the Starcom. Way back when, the Starcom we were hoping was going to be a unity of the whole state of Illinois, that we could all talk together and work together. But because of the economy and a lot of things, and because of what money that we received from the grant things, we knew that that was going to be a difficult thing for us. For us to go to Starcom, there was a fee of $35 per radio for whatever agency, whether it's city or county. So we were at that point of money-wise, coverage-wise, combination of all of the above, that for us to be able to make it work, the feasible thing for us was to go to the narrow band that's going to be starting. So we started working with that. We got the better coverage with that, so we decided to go with that because I can talk to the fire departments, I can talk to the emergency services, I can talk to other counties. So, and I think maybe, Greg, that some of the misunderstanding that you're running into was because now we've got a separation because the city is on Starcom. We're still running on the 800s, which the city still has the 800s. So that hasn't changed. The change is when the city decided to go to Starcom, now I can't hear their traffic like we always had before. That connection is gone. They can still communicate with us because they do have the high band. They can call and we can communicate with them. They still have the 800, which is still in use and will be so until 14. So they can still talk to us. The problem that we're running into is because they're on Starcom and we are not, because we couldn't see going to Starcom, paying that money that we'd have to pay per month because we have 50 radios. Now think about that, $35 per radio. That's $1,750 a month to do that. My budget, if you look in the last 2 years, has been cut $500,000. My budget for the sheriff's office. So boom, we looked at that. We decided we're going to stay with the narrowband. And even though there's not that communication, they can still talk to us if they need us in that communication. The sad part was we always had a directed, I could always hear what was going on with them. That's the separation right now, I think, Greg, that you see is that I can't hear their guys making a traffic stop. I can't hear them going to domestic, that a lot of times that we would go and back them up. So the only place that the city has got to go to is the state police is listening to city's traffic. The problem we find out, if you see the state of Illinois is in an awful situation, look how many troopers there are out there who are trying to take care of all of the problems within the county, not only just this county, but other counties, because they're just not stuck here. So for them to be able to back up the city is less likely than us to be able to do there. So we have to do this extra communication, in that if they need us, they're going to have to call us because we can't hear what's going on. So I think that's the separation that we find that makes it difficult, is that direct communication is gone that we used to have.
So I have a few more questions related to that. At some point through 911, through various other conversations, the city and the county and the state had all agreed to utilize Starcom. But you're saying it was the economics of the matter and coverage that led you to use the high band.
That is correct. In 2002, Starcom Motorola got with us and they said, this is going to be the statewide thing. But if you will look, Greg, and you start talking to the other sheriffs and other people, what happened was, as the economy started going down, and a lot of these counties are in the same situation, a lot of them are worse shape than what Effingham County is. I think that maybe if you think about Effingham County, we're really probably in better shape than a lot of the counties surrounding us as far as that. Jasper Jail had to close. Now they've opened back up because they found out that was not a cost efficient thing. But because of the economy, because his budget's been cut, like my budget's been cut, that's the big thing. So you'll find out up north, as Starcom seems to be the big thing, because they have that money and that ability to be able to do it. But the farther south you go, the less money that we as sheriffs, because we were all together and we were all going for this, that things started going downhill, which we never know what's going to happen, and nor will I know in 2 or 3 years if we're going to come out of this hole that we're in, unfortunately, and the state of Illinois. So yes, that would be the big thing is the money, but also our communications throughout the county. We tried the Starcom and it was not doing what we'd like for it to do. I would like to have, and my goal was 98% coverage for the county. And we've put up some extra towers with the digital high band now, and we're getting that coverage. We're still working at it. We would like to go and put a few more towers up that we could have that communication completely with a cost efficiency is what we're looking at.
Yeah, that was my next question. I know high band is still in the development phase. I know that there are plans to have additional towers to those that are. What's in place now and what is planned as far as the network of towers throughout the county?
One of the things that we were looking at, an easy aspect of the tower thing, is that we've been putting them on water towers. One of the things that we found out was like the Edgewood, that antenna had been struck by lightning, which we didn't know at that time, and it was out. So where our problems was like Diedrich and Beecher City,
Right.
and that's the couple of the areas that we would like to put antennas up that we could do it. Now, if you know, Seamers gave us permission, and we did put an antenna up there. Really helped a lot because that's the highest point, and that was a big help and plus to us on the digital high band. But the fire departments are not going to go to Starcom. They can't afford that. They're going to stay the way that they are. So that was the area that we was looking at, because we want that communication. We want that ability to be able to talk to them. But because of the coverage also that we're getting and starting to get better and better, and I think by 2014 we're hoping that we will have that up and going before the 800 bites the bullet and it's completely gone.
So that the other antennas will be in place by then?
That's what we're looking at, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know if that's in your budget or not.
Well, that's something that we work at, but if we got a couple of years that we can work on that instead of taking a big bite out of that, we figured probably $200,000 to be able to put the antennas up and do what we want to do. So if we can work with that and try to work with the board and try to get that budget made into that, we will be set and ready to go.
Okay. If that's in place, then would the guys, when they're out of their vehicles, on their portables, then would they have interoperability with the different agencies? Or are we still going to have a situation where deputies might be out of their vehicles and city police officers might be out of their vehicles and they still can't hear one another?
You're still going to have that same problem because Starcom and digital is completely two different beasts. Now, what we've tried to do, Greg, to try to solve this problem, we did a process called patching, which we've always been able to do that before, but our system is old, city system is old. Trying to put together a new system is not working. We've tried the patching, and it's really difficult to be able to do that. With that, if we'd been able to do the patching, we could hear them and that communication would still be there. But we're having that problem. That's where we're kind of at a standstill. Now we're looking at a new idea that they've come out with. And we're going to look at this. It's called Bridge. They're going to build a bridge between the city and the county. That if this works, which we don't know until we try it, because we know the patching is not going to work. So now we're going to try the bridge. If the bridge would work, then I think then we'll have our solutions and we'll have that same communication that we once had.
Okay. A lot of people are concerned, maybe not a lot, some people are concerned that the lack of ability to communicate, and this isn't just law officers, people in the public are concerned that because they can't hear at times, there might be a situation where you wouldn't be able to have the adequate amount of law enforcement on a situation or knowing what's going on at a scene that they used to. I know there was an incident advanced a couple of months ago at a 911 board meeting where there was someone in a building and both city and county officers were there, and the suspect fled, and one of the officers that was on scene gave pursuit, but the other officer didn't know that because there was a lack of communication. They couldn't go and help the officer that was in pursuit. That, I'm just thinking of scenarios. If that suspect was armed, if they were trying to get away and get in somebody's house or building or something to elude the officers, that's not a good situation.
That's correct, yeah. And that's where we hope maybe this bridge that we're talking about, that we can have that communication there. Because right now we do not have that. Yeah. So it's dumped onto dispatchers. When they hear this, then they got to relay the message to the county. Mm-hmm. And of course, you're talking about how much time we talking about. Things happen fast. Mm-hmm. So yes, we have that same concern, and that's why we're looking at a bridge. We've got a company now that's willing to come in and see if they can put this bridge together at no cost to us, and be able to see if it works. If it works, we think that we've got the answer to that. So we're hoping. We got our fingers crossed.
I hope this doesn't sound like crying over spilled milk, but if we had a situation where you guys could talk one to another, and now we have a situation where you can't, that doesn't sound like progress to me.
It doesn't sound like progress. It is not progress. Yeah, it's.
Is there a timeline by when this bridge will be in place so we can see whether or not it's going to work?
We're going to try to put this in action as fast as we can, because time is the essence, just like the situation that's happened today. You never know what's going to be around the corner, what's going to happen.
We're talking about the water leak, by the way.
We're talking about the water leak. So you never know what's going to come up, So that's what we try to do as fast as we can. In fact, the work's in progress right today as we're pushing for this.
911 Board's Communications Committee at their last meeting decided that they would recommend to the full 911 Board that they wouldn't be in the communication business anymore. That whatever the county wanted to use, or city, or fire departments, or ambulance service, or whatever agency we were talking about, they would decide what they are going to do, and the 911's job would be to dispatch, not to have a communication system in place. That's their recommendation that's going to go before the 911 Board.
Yeah. That's a recommendation, but I think the 911 board is involved in communications.
Well, true, and and we're talking about essentially most of the 911 boards on that communications committee. So is that something you can live with? That if that's the decision from the 911 board, that John, you take care of what you want to do for the county, and Mike can take care of the city, and Terry takes care of the ambulances, and whoever the fire chiefs are, then they go with the fire departments, and they'll just worry about getting people there?
I don't think so. I think that we need to be working together. This is a unity thing that we need to be. Instead of us going all different directions, that's not what it's all about. It's all of us working together in a unity of that.
Is there a good working relationship? I know at times in the last 15 years or so that it's not always been peachy between the agencies.
Well, and I think, when you say it's not peachy, if you talk to the guys, patrol guys, they're close. What is this? They're coming to me and they're concerned because they can't hear the city. Mm-hmm. And the city's coming and saying, hey, we're concerned because we can't hear your guys, that we could go out there and assist and help you. So, there's never going to be a separation. We're all one family in law enforcement, and there's never going to be that separation. Now, maybe the heads might be bumping against each other, but the real people who get out there and are on the firing line and are working together want to work together. You know, sometimes we don't always agree. I don't always agree with what city does. City doesn't always agree with what I'm doing. State police probably don't agree with either one of us. There's always going to be a certain amount of butting heads. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty, we work together. And that's what we want, it's that communication.
So people in the county can feel good, and city, and well, since the city's in the county, whoever
Yes.
can feel good that they're protected.
Yeah, that is correct.
All right. I appreciate the visit. Thanks for your time, John.
Okay, Greg, thanks.
Sheriff John Monnet, I'm Greg Sapp.